So today we're going to talk about pricing property. This is one of the most important skills that you guys can learn as a real estate agent. What one of my friends, Karen Bernardi, used to say when we would go to events is she would literally say, price it right and put it in the MLS. That's really what we need to do. Now, we know that there's more involved to that. There's marketing, there's strategy, there's, the exposure, there's how fast you respond to consumers. But at the end of the day, pricing property is one of the most crucial skills that you need to be successful in the industry. So I've written down, many, many points that I want to go over today because I think that it's critical to learn when we're talking about pricing property. So I want you to get your pens out, piece of paper, notebook, and start writing these things down. And when they resonate with you, read them over and over again and try to think of times when you did do these things or when you failed to do these things and how it affected your business. Because if you're going to ever be a great agent, you need to become a great listing agent, and pricing property is one of them. So the first thing that I did when I moved to North Carolina many, many years ago, I did not know a soul, is I started to preview property. So I wrote down preview property every week to give yourself stronger knowledge in your local market and give yourself confidence in pricing during a listing presentation. So I would literally stack my morning. Time management is another really important skill. So I would be in the office at 7:30 to 8. I would role play different sales scenarios because guys, you're in a sales business. And then I would, from 8:30 to 11, I would be on the phones with a 10-minute mindset break in between, because you have to figure out that prospecting and your time management and your skill all go together. That is where the money is made, is talking to people. So how do you talk to people in high levels, high volume, is you call them. So I would end at 11 to 12. I would check emails, put out fires, do what I needed to do. 12 to 1:30, I would have lunch. And then 1:30 to 7 was for appointment time. Or if I didn't have appointments, I would go and preview property. And so I would preview, in our local area, the average price points, because that's usually where most sales come from. I might preview a luxury property if I had buyers in that demographic. And if I didn't, I would go back to prospecting and try to make more appointments for the next day because I had nothing else to do. So that's number one, preview property every week to become a good pricing specialist. Number two, remember, you are not responsible for their price. The market is. So you're simply the messenger. So prices are going to go up. You can't take credit for that and say, well, the prices went up, it's because of me. Prices go down. You can't take the fault for that either. So it's what the market is going to deliver. So anytime I presented price, I would say the market is suggesting, the market is suggesting. And remember, at the end of the day, the seller has to be able to come up with the price. The seller has to be able to see the price that you are delivering, because when that buyer makes a decision to buy their home, they're going to sit down and look at the exact information that you and I came up with. If the seller can't determine the price, then it's not clear, because we can't just say, oh, this home is worth $1 million because that's what I want. If the home is actually worth $750,000, the seller has to determine that price. So remember, your pricing presentation is so important because you're leading the client to the right price based on what the market will deliver. Number three, our success in getting listings sold always begins with price. Always, 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 always. The sooner you price it right, the faster it sells, the smoother your business runs, and the happier seller you'll have, and the more money you will also have. It all is determined by price. Number four, as I said earlier, you must know both your office statistics and overall market statistics to create the highest impact. You have to know what's going on in the market every single day. So many agents are very relational, and that's great. You want to have good relationships with people, but the reality is I've sold thousands of homes. I can't have relationships with every single client. So I was a volume-based business. I would go into people's houses, I would advise them, and I would know my statistics. If your brain is not very analytical and it's hard for you to capture those statistics, talk to your fellow agents, look at your TAR reports in your local market, talk to appraisers, decide how you're going to take those statistics, whittle them down into very manageable and understandable bite-sized pieces to deliver them to the consumer so they can see that this is not theory, this is fact, this is what's going on right now in the market, and you're leading them to that realization. Number five, Always price a home to sell, which gives you an edge in the marketplace versus pricing it the same as competition. Well, everybody leads to, pushing that price up, up, up. Now all you have is a bunch of listings at the same valuations, same price per square foot, and the buyer is just confused. There is no clear choice. So you want to always have the clearest choice in the market, and you want to get your sellers to understand that it is a beauty contest, but it is a price war. And that is up to them to make sure that they price the property effectively. If you have, let's say, for instance, a beautiful home, and let's just say it's worth $1 million, but you price it at $2 million. And you do all the marketing in the world. You literally put it on every billboard for the next 700 miles from North Carolina to Michigan and back. And you put it in every advertisement, every digital marketing ad. You spend, let's say, $200,000 marketing this property. Is it going to sell for $2 million just because you did the right marketing? The answer is no. You know the right answer. No matter what marketing you do, no matter how famous you are on social media, no matter what you do, price is the only thing that matters. And then, of course, making sure that the condition is market ready as well. Number 6, you go in sometimes a little bit under market value. We talk about 2% under market, 3% under market, 5% under market. The goal is to drive up demand for the property. So you can use different strategies. We always teach different strategies based on where the house is, the position of the house. We want to ensure that we have a pricing plan, and we do. We have a pricing improvement plan. We have a pricing launch plan. Everything has a strategy, but you want to make sure that you're deploying the right strategy for the sellers. Number 7, tell them the truth no matter what. I can't tell you how many weak agents I run into where they let the customer lead. The customer's the one picking the price. The customer's the one picking the marketing strategy. The customer's the one telling them when they can show the home. The reality is, why does the customer need you? Why did they hire you and pay you 5.5%, 6%, 7% when you're not leading? What is your process? Do not let them lead. Do not tell them the truth. You know when a house is overpriced, and you know when you're taking that listing overpriced, but yet you still do it. And you end up ruining your reputation in the market. You end up ruining the reputation of the house because it sits there week after week after week. Sellers then mad, they're coming after you, and you're saying, gosh, it sucks to be a listing agent. Yeah, it does if you don't tell them the truth. Number 8, our job as an agent is to place the home in the market strategically through market pricing. It's to drive as many possibilities to that house as possible. So, whenever you look at strategic placement in the market, we have a strategy at Caul Group where we look at what's going on, and then we can pick the strategic placement. So we go through that with the sellers, and we allow them to be part of that process. And it really, truly is understandable for them why we should have strategic placement in the market. Number 9, any agent can list a home at market value or above. It doesn't take skills to list a home above market value. You want $1 million? Let's list it for 1.1. Okay. Anybody would list for that. So it doesn't take skill to list at market value or above. It takes skill to list a little bit below market value, have a strategy to make sure you ensure the sale and potentially lead to multiple offers. That takes skills. You've got to be skillful in that. And number 10, as you get to the end of your presentation, be sure to set them up for a price adjustment. Most agents don't want to talk about this, and it's something you should talk about. This is where the money is made, setting expectations. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is how we're going to price the property today to make sure and ensure that we strategically place it in the market. This is what's going to happen week 1. If we get this amount of showings and no offer, this is the percentage of reduction. If we get this amount of showings and multiple offers, here's the strategy. If we don't get any showings and no offers, this is what we do. And everything has a percentage. So you have to have some sort of plan and process. And then every week, every Friday at 11 o'clock, we are talking about the process of what happened during the week, what we did with our marketing efforts, the feedback from the clients, and what it means to them moving forward. What happens is a lot of you do not talk to your client. And then the first time you talk to your client is 3 weeks later, and you're asking for a price adjustment. They're mad. They're mad at that point. You've got to keep them posted. Know what's happening every step of the way. If I go have surgery and the doctor says, I need you to take these pills, I need you to eat at this time, I need you to take it at this time, 10 hours before your surgery, we want you on an empty stomach. Literally, you get a checklist of things that you need to do prior to having surgery, prior to doing an exercise. This is the same thing for pricing property. You can't just willy-nilly it. You have to be very clear on what you're doing. So I hope these 10 helped you. I have another 10 that I'm going to be doing in my next video, but these are the first 10 that you need to think about if you're going to become a top listing agent. So here's to your success, and I'll see you next time.